All right, so the Season 3 Clover Academy units are going to be coming out sometime on the 18th for everyone at the same time, given that there is going to be a maintenance. And the Clover Academy units, I'd say that Charlotte is probably the best one, also drip-wise too. And just design-wise, I'd say they just went really hard with her being a math teacher and everything. So we're going to get into all the stuff that are in the timestamps. So go to the timestamps to get the info that you want. And essentially, that's basically it. So Charlotte, as we know her, is a blue support. And this is going to be the second out of 3 good Charlottes, because obviously the red Charlotte was still a very, very, very good debuffer and still remains extremely good for PvE content. Now this Charlotte is more of a counterattack supporter unit who's going to apply multiple counterattacks and also works very well on a full blue team. So let's go in to explain Charlotte's full abilities. Now then, as for the skill 1, it is a very simple thing where you just do that and it's going to be applying a counterattack to the person with the highest attack. Now this one I think is nothing too special, but at the very least it does give someone a 1-turn counterattack, and I think that is not that bad in general. I think that for a skill 1 it is overall one of the better ones, because I think in some cases you could actually gain some value from this depending on who's attacking next. Now of course I'm going to talk about her at 5 dupes right after, but at 0 dupes she does not gain extra counterattack turns, so just 1 turn kind of can be bad in some cases if the person who has the counterattack is still attacking next and the 1-turn counterattack just is gone after that, right? Now, as for the skill 2, essentially, this is going to be applying a 40% all attack increase up to a 60%, as you can see on there. Okay, so here we go. And it's going to be applying it to the whole team for the 60% all attack value. Now, if you have this skill page 2, it will be applying total defense, which it does not show here. So let me just X out to show you at least the icon. So it will be applying total defense also. Total defense gives everyone guaranteed block for 1 turn. That guaranteed block is going to be basically reducing your damage from up to 30% separately from the actual damage reduction / the actual fortified buffs, okay? Now, as for the ultimate, it is going to be applying an AoE counterattack at max level to the whole team. At level 1, it is just a 60% chance, but that is very sad that she didn't get it. So I'd say that for people who want to prioritize her counterattacks, you might want to get it up, right? You might want to get it up. So that one is the ultimate, and I'd say the ultimate to me, I mean, I personally rather the other skills, but let's just go into the combo. So the combo here is going to be applying damage reduction depending on well, the level, up to 20% to the whole team. And why these combos are good is because of the fact that you're able to put this with anyone. And in a blue team, you might put it with Julius because he has good counterattack damage, or not counterattack, combo damage. Or you might put it in the future with someone like Noelle because of the fact that she has barrier removal. So there's different ways that you might want to go about it. Or Mars for a stun, right? So there's different ways that you're able to go about doing that. Now, you might have seen it in battle, but she has 2 passives. We'll talk about both of those passives and obviously the stats that she gains from duping out. Now, her LR passive is just when the whole team is blue, you inflict silence for 1 turn on the whole enemy team. Now, silence cannot be blocked. That is the first thing to note. It cannot be blocked. So no matter what, you are applying silence on the skill 2 for 1 turn to where they can't use, well, this skill essentially. That's basically all there is to it. So running a full blue team is obviously the best, and what's great about that is that the blue units are by far probably the strongest color. Just looking at this, you've got hard hitters still like Lotus, Noelle, William, right? Ghost is still very good. Obviously, we have the best DPS probably still to this point. Charlotte, Charmy, right? So it's like a very strong team. And it's going to work very well with Charlotte in point. And also, yeah, I'll go into more teams later. But basically, it's just going to be very good full blue team does work well, especially to deter Noelle. When you look at it, she has the barrier as her skill too, so you can't use the barrier. But then the ultimate won't really be doing much damage against a full blue team who also is going to be having damage reduction buffs. So yeah, no, Noelle, it kind of does stop Noelle from being a lot better. So that LR passive is good. Now for the Dupe passive, the Dupe 2 is just you gain one skill point when attacked, but the max Dupe is when it gets truly crazy and it increases the counterattack turns. So instead of being one turn, this is going to be 2 turns for the counterattack at max Dupe. And instead of being one turn, this is going to be a 2-turn counterattack, which then makes the counterattack much more useful in most cases because of the fact you just give everyone a 2-turn counterattack. Besides just that, the stats are adding 6 speed to Charlotte, 8,000 HP and 25% crit resistance. Now the crit res is going to be a nice little CC buff, but the speed itself lets her be, if we go back to Pride Win and check the character stats based off of speed, the quickest unit with William to this day on JP. She remains unbeaten. The only one coming close is another Charlotte and Valtos and William. So there's 5 units above 120 and she has 2 of them, which very funny. But essentially, this Charlotte max Dupe is when you get this. And I mean, hey, I'd say that getting her dupes is not a bad idea. But personally, I've been having a fine time using her. I used to have her at 0 dupes when she came out for the first 2 months. And I mean, only recently I got these 5 dupes because of a rerun banner. So personally, I'm under the belief that these dupes do help quite a bit, but the playstyle you could basically use if you don't have the max dupe is still a good one and not horrible. So personally, I do not think you need the dupes. Okay, the dupes do make her a better unit. I think it brings her from like about an S to like a high, like mid S to high S ranking, but I do not think it is needed. Obviously, it makes her counterattacks last for 2 turns instead of 1 and gives her 6 speed, making her the quickest unit. But I think in many cases, you should still be fine because she's still turn 1 going to be applying, of course, this silence for 1 turn. So that is the pretty important thing, right? Now, as for skill pages, let's go over to that. So the best in slot and the one that makes her just such a better unit is for sure this. It's unfortunate, but it's how it is because of the simple fact it adds the total defense and makes this skill 2 so much better. So there was a whole meta, a whole time on JP and KR where they started off by using the Charlotte skill 2 to apply the all attack increase by 60%, obviously because max level at 60, with the total defense, which gave you the offense and the defense you needed. And if you had William, you could give damage reduction too. Or if you had Lotus and Mars, you could lower all attack. There's a bunch of ways that you could go about it. But this total defense reduced the damage. And then you got your DPS buff so that your Julius could still do good. So this team is, well, the full blue team with total defense does become much better, especially against Noelle teams. So I would recommend, if you can, get this skill page. Especially if you have like certain SSR dupes that you don't really want. Or if you get lucky, or if you buy the battle pass, this is the one that you should go for. I'm going to talk about in a should you summon about if you're a whale, what you should do. If you're free to play, what you should do. So stay tuned for that. Should be tomorrow on the 17th. Now, besides that, this one to me is probably the best one besides. So it gives 10% all attack increase when you use the skill 2, which already gives 60%. So it could put someone at 70%, but only one person, obviously, right? Now, besides that, these 2 for stamina increase depending on which one you use first is not a bad idea, but Valtos's is guaranteed stamina, so if you use the ult, use Valtos's, and if not, then you could maybe use Funerals, but I would say sadly still better. But another thing that I think is good to note is that the stun block skill pages, the 2 that are on screen right now, are both some that you should consider in case you get stunned. It's going to stun block for the first turn and then give you a bit of a heal, which I think is also a nice little heal. 12% HP heal on the SR when obviously it's max duped would be good. So yeah, I think that now and in the future, especially with Mars probably returning to the spotlight with Charlotte, it's going to be a very good idea to actually bring this skill page to make sure that you don't get stunned if you don't have this skill page. Because this should be your #1 priority. And then it's really like this one and then this one and then these, right? That's kind of like my own opinion on the order of skill pages. Okay, so this is basically how I would run the talent build in general, but you could also run it just like this and get this one if you want to make it so that you get the skill 2 quicker. It's going to depend on the person, but why I would run it like this is to have a chance to get your combo quicker. Not the ultimate, but I would recommend getting sometimes, most of the times, the combo quicker. I feel like the combo does end up working a lot better in many cases, so you could definitely do this. I would not say that either or is a bad idea, but whichever one you feel more comfortable with, either the skill 2 or the ultimate, are both going to work just fine, right? So this is how you would build the speed set. You would have the 4 set speed, you need the 4 set speed, and then afterwards I would recommend 2 set defense if there's any other in the future that give better stuff, sure, but for now 2 set defense is probably the best one for you to run. And like you definitely need the 4 set speed, and I would just place it like this, right? There's other ways to place it, but this is definitely the best way. So I would say that if you want to like focus on substats, going for defensive substats like crit resistance, defense, HP, and block being this one, the damage res stat, those 4 are the best. And as for these, I would go for obviously defense again. So yeah, you really want to focus on making her as tanky as possible while also having the maximum amount of speed. Putting those two things together is going to let her have very, very, very good gear, right? Now, going on, I guess next is going to be the teams. I would say this is probably going to be one of the best teams for you guys to run. I've already showcased this team. Now, all depending on if there's a lot of Marses in the meta. You could also put Lotus in place of Mars, because Lotus's combo reduces stamina. And if there's no debuff block, then you're going to be able to hit that stamina reduction or mobility reduction off without a stitch, right? So there's definitely different ways that you could go about this. If you don't care about Charmy, then you could put it like this, get this all attack, basically reduction, speed reduction, right? Go for something like that. But basically every blue unit has a chance to be on this team. Even so far, something like this would not be so far-fetched. You get the damage reduction here. Julius goes crazy. Lotus gets his combo with Charlotte, then you have 50% damage reduction in both Charlotte and William. So it would look maybe something like either like this or the other way around, but I would probably go like this, and then you would do this, right? And then have damage reduction with the speed up, and then Julius probably uses skill 2 first to be more annoying in many of these cases. So this team would be able to survive basically everyone against Noelle turn 1, and then Julius would be able to very quickly lower Noelle's mobility or just outright kill her. So yeah, no, that's the definitely strong thing. The only problem against this team would be rawness. Now, the one thing about Charlotte is that over time, the blue team does get stronger, so there is definitely that to really just hold out for. Now, you could even play Charlotte to where she's just on a regular old, maybe a Noelle with Julius team. Where's Julius? Hello? Julius team, if I could find them. And then maybe you want to place Vatos here for a very quick run. At least both of the DPS units are going to be getting an all attack increase, so that is a way to maybe go about it. Vatos, speed up, bop, 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 and then there you go. So like there's definitely different teams, and I will be making many different teams in the future, but I'd say any blue variant team that you go about is going to be the best, and I think going to shake up the meta pretty well, so I'm pretty excited for that. But except for that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.